Welcome, everybody, to this Saturday live edition of the Streakers Island Podcast. It is I, Jacob Moore, the self-proclaimed sports analyst. We are joined by Dan Moore for your money, Two-Hat Jack.
Playoff ready, more for.
And Chazzy, the CEO. Now, Dan asked a question right off the top, and I'm going to be answering it again at some point in the show. But why am I wearing a Toronto Argos hoodie? There's a very simple reason for this. I am breeding championship pedigree.
Oh.
This is the championship hoodie from 2024. MLSC championships. There's my little hint for you.
I thought it's because you didn't do your laundry.
No.
Your mommy didn't do your laundry. You didn't know what to do.
No.
Your mommy do your laundry.
I do my own laundry because I'm a big boy.
Oh.
But, Chazzy, are you supporting any sports memorabilia today? I see you got a hat on backwards.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we got a couple more days to think about it, so we got game one in, 48 hours?
And, Dan, why are you wearing your Winnipeg Jets sweater? You think they're going to get out of this playoff hell?
Yeah, I do. I think St. Louis is going to give them a very hard one. I think it's going to be a very long series, but I'm going positive on Winnipeg.
I mean, look, if Winnipeg's going to do it, this should be the year they do it, right? Like, this team's, like, stacked.
The problem is Jordan.
Solid. No, I said there's no gaps and they're just solid all around.
Oh, 100%. I mean, the problem is they're facing Jordan Binnington. But Binnington is better in one game. That's why he won the Four Nations. However, this is a 7-game series. So Harelbeck is the better goalie. Can he be better over 7 games? We'll find out.
Winnipeg will be rocking tonight, though.
Pardon me?
I said Winnipeg will be rocking tonight.
Oh, yeah, but Whiteout will be nuts.
Don't they have a street blocked up? I forget what they call this street that they're on.
They call it the Whiteout.
The Whiteout. No, but isn't there a street that they block off just in front of the arena?
Yes, but I don't remember the name of the street.
Yeah.
I'll be our friend. I'll ask my friend Kayla because he lives in Winnipeg. Chazzy knows Kayla, too.
One thing I will say, too, is here, like, not just NHL playoffs are underway. We are, if you jump into our sports booth, you will see the OJHL playoffs are in there. And the puck is dropping any moment on game one. Actually, puck has dropped between Trenton.
Yeah, 5 o'clock. Yeah.
Trenton Golden Hawks and the Milton Menace. Carter Bickle starting in net for Milton. Not a surprise at all. This guy has been absolutely dominant in this playoff run for the Menace, playing in all 15 games, sorry, it's 15-1 now, 12-2 so far in the first 14, 2 shutouts, a 943 save percentage, and a 1.86 goals against average. So you know he's came to play. But remember, we're going to be keeping an eye on that one as well.
Now, you mentioned something interesting the other day. It's a 1-1, so they do the travel each game.
Yeah, so after this game, then they'll be heading back to Milton, the Madhouse in Milton, as everyone likes to call it there. And they will be there to see how that game goes.
Is that a raucous crowd?
Oh, man. You know, in all honesty, both rinks are going to be rocking and rolling. Like, Trenton brings in a lot of fans. The Madhouse will be sold out. It's a small rink, and they'll cram 1,200 people in it.
Why do we travel so much?
Well, it's cheaper to travel than a hotel.
Oh, okay. Especially with the gas break.
But we will check back into that game as we're going on live today. But let's start talking about the NHL playoffs. And we have the first game of the playoffs, which is the Jets versus the Blues. Before we get into that game, I was a little surprised this is what they've decided to launch the playoffs off with.
Why?
I was kind of expecting, I'll be honest, I thought we were going to be launching of Montreal.
Do you think it had to do with the schedule?
It did have to do with the schedule, 100%. I just would have liked to see get Montreal launched off. I'm still butthurt that it's not Calgary, so that's why.
I think Winnipeg's a very good start. I think this Winnipeg-St. Louis series is going to be one of the best series in the opening rounds, and I think this is a very good way to start.
Yeah, I mean, this should be a really good series, but Trevor, good old Shades, has asked us to pick our entire first round bracket. We got a
Whoa!
message.
Has he submitted his yet?
He has not submitted his. So when you guys message, I'm sure he's watching. Tell him to get on that. But we got to see.
You know what? Let's start with his. Let's start with his Senators.
Well, are you going to message him, Jacob, see what his bracket is, or are you going to me a message?
You can message him, Dan.
Okay.
But let's take a look at all the playoff series right off the hop.
I didn't see a message.
He messaged us on Instaham.
Do we start with the elephant in the room? The Battle of Ontario.
So we have Toronto, Ottawa, Tampa, Florida, Washington, Montreal, Carolina, New Jersey for the East. So let's start with the East and then we'll move to the West. Who are you taking? I'm going to do Toronto, Ottawa last for the East, Chazzy. I'm going to keep you anticipated. Let's start with Carolina, New Jersey.
Carolina in 5.
I am going way off.
Are we just taking who's going to win?
I'm going way off the board and saying New Jersey in 6.
What?
I'm going to tell you why. Number one, game 1, Carolina is going to come in here half asleep thinking this is going to be easy. So I think they're going to take game 1. And if you take game 1 and Markstrom is hot, you can beat Carolina. You got to remember, and this is one thing I want to mention right off the hop. How the hell is Carolina the betting odds favorite?
Oh,
I don't know if you guys saw that. They're the betting odds favorite right now to win the Stanley Cup. I mean, it's insane. And they're going to lose to New Jersey in the first round.
There's no way they're going into game 1 asleep. Like
they're
that crowd's going to be rocking in Carolina.
They're going to go into sleep. Oh. What do you think, Dan? Carolina or New Jersey?
Well, I'm going to make things interesting. I'm going to say Carolina's going to sweep. Get out the blooms.
Wow.
No.
Sheldon Keefe is the coach that always sweeps in the playoffs. And don't forget, there was some controversy between Keefe and some of his players going into the stretch about the playoffs. We got Hughes coming out of an injury. He might not even be ready to play. New Jersey only had 91 points. They had less points than Calgary did that missed the playoffs in that debate. So I think New Jersey is probably the weakest team in the 16-team playoff.
Which is why I think they're going to win the first round. I think Carolina's going to come in here sleepy.
No, I think Taylor Hall is going to step it up for Carolina.
We'll see.
Carolina has a lot to prove with the Rantanen trade going south, right?
Yeah, I don't disagree with you fully. I just seriously think New Jersey, if Markstrom plays up to his capabilities we've seen in the playoffs, like he's done in the past, right? He's done this in the past. We saw when Calgary went on some runs, it was a big reason was goaltending. If Jacob Markstrom plays at a high level, they can win that series.
Bring up the blooms. Bloom! Oh, come on.
I get the zoo. Because you're not
for you now.
Chazzy's already got the circus behind us.
Oh, nice.
We're upgrading here on the island. We got a Ferris wheel now.
Okay, now let's move on to Tampa versus Florida. I'm not letting Chazzy talk about his Habs just yet. Who are we taking between Tampa and Florida? I'm taking Tampa. Tampa in 5.
What?
The reason being is this Lightning team is starving. And I get it. And with Florida, you don't have Ekblad for the first 2 games. Tkachuk is going to be playing, but not 100%. Seth Jones has been absolutely terrible, and they've been limping coming in down the stretch. The Lightning are going to win this series. I think it's going to be a bit of a blowout, unless Bobrovsky can steal it. The Lightning are rolling. The Lightning look like the Lightning that have won their cups again. They look back. Tampa Bay Lightning in 5.
Wow.
Dan, what do you think? I think Chazzy wants to throw a circus picture at me.
This is a real tough one, battle Florida. I do agree with you, Jacob. Tampa's going to win the series. However, after Florida made those big trades and not going to go down without a fight, I think it's going to be Tampa in 7.
Just to update you guys quickly, the Trenton Golden Hawks are up 1-0 over the Milton Men's.
Wow.
on Joey Burnham's third goal of the playoffs unassisted.
Wow.
Just keeping tabs on that series, on that game there. First shot on net too, which is very odd for a guy like Carter Bickle. But Chazzy, what are your thoughts here? You sticking with Dan and I and taking the Tampa Bay Lightning, or do you think the Florida Panthers, back-to-back Stanley Cup finalists, won the cup last year, they're going to find a way to ramp their game up again?
Yeah, I'm on the opposite end of the pendulum here with you from you guys. So give me the Panthers, 6 or 7. But I think they'll prevail.
I will say,
Like you
if
said,
the
the
Panthers
Boston
win
can
this
steal
series,
it.
it'll be a long series. If the Panthers win, it'll be a long series, 100%.
Yeah. Oh, they'll rough each other up for sure.
Oh, Hundo P. But now let's go to, now we'll do Washington and Montreal. So, Dan, I want you to go first. Who are you taking here, Montreal or Washington?
It's really tough, Will. It's really tough. I think Montreal is going to put up a good fight. This series reminds me of the series back about 7 years ago when Toronto faces Washington, when Matthews and all of them were very young. I think Washington's going to win this in 6. Sorry, Chazzy.
Oh, that's okay. I got to take the Canadiens in 7.
Nice.
Okay, so in my opinion, neither one of you guys are out to lunch. I think the Capitals winning in 6 is realistic. I think Montreal winning in 7 is quite plausible. With Washington, it really depends what team we see. Washington down the stretch did not look great. Let's just be honest here. And I know the games didn't matter for them at all, which I do think was a big part of it. However, you have the Montreal Canadiens who have basically been playing playoff hockey for the last month.
Yeah, literally.
Right, so they're in playoff form. Just to put in perspective, Washington is 4-6 in their last 10. Well, Montreal was 7-1-2 in their last 10. So points into 9 out of their last 10 games. I'm taking the Montreal Canadiens in 7.
Oh.
I think Montreal has this swagger. I saw Patrick Laine. They asked him about, is it exciting to play to play against Ovechkin in the playoffs? He just flat out said no.
What?
Like, Montreal feels like, stop acting like we're a pity party here.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to catch Washington off guard. And Washington's goaltending's been a big question mark of late. With Logan Thompson being injured, and Charlie Lindgren was their starter last year in the playoffs, and it was a complete disaster.
So, German Shepherd.
I don't know about Washington. I think they are my biggest question mark team out of the really good teams.
Most of them leaves.
Because you got to remember they're coming off a loss to Pittsburgh, which don't tell me they weren't trying against the Penguins.
Yeah.
I don't care what was last game of the year. Ovechkin was still out, the whole team was still playing. Because anytime they have a chance to take down their arch nemesis in the Pittsburgh Penguins, they're going to do it. But you know what? They haven't looked as good, in my opinion. And I think the big issue was the same thing we saw when Matthews was trying to go for 70 goals in a year. You're so focused on the goal scorer, you're not focused on your team game. They haven't been playing team hockey in a while. Like, you got to look, out of their losses in April, they lost 5-1 to the Hurricane, 4-1 to the Islanders, and 7-0 to the Blue Jackets, 4-1 to the Blue Jackets, and 5-2 to the Penguins. Yeah, you put in a couple of wins there against the Islanders, Hurricanes, and Blackhawks, but I don't think they've been playing that well. Now, again, you could flip the script. Maybe they'll turn on a switch, and they'll get back to the way they were playing 2 months ago. But if they play the way they're playing right now, Montreal will win this series.
Wow.
Dan, do you think I'm out to lunch?
No, I don't think you're out to lunch. I think the only thing I'm missing is that Ovi broke the record now. And whenever you're going to compare Ovi to Crosby, 1v1, the best player of all time, Ovi only has 1 Stanley Cup and Crosby has 3. Ovi's 39. He says he's coming back next year. I really think Ovi wants another cup. And this is the best team he has had to dinner with since he's won the cup, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say I disagree with you. I don't know. There's something about this Montreal team. I don't know what it is, but I feel there's something special about this team. You have Savard who says he's going to retire. You have Montembeault playing at a really high level.
I
You have a lot of
disagree
offensive
with that.
players.
I think Montreal's goaltending is kind of questionable. Multiple is like, what, 900 save percentage and just under 3 goals against average, and the other guy they got is a rookie. I mean, it's not like they have Carey Price. If they have Carey Price still, this is a different conversation.
Gosh, you were Carey Price in front of this team. They're a cup contender. You imagine, Chazzy, can you imagine prime Carey Price with this much scoring power?
Oh yeah, we'd be way up the standings too. So.
Oh my God, it would be insane. But continue, Dan. Sorry, you just made me think of that.
No, but it's true. It's like multiple. I give him a lot of credit. He's really come a far way, but he's not a franchise goalie. And when you have a young team going against a powerhouse, you need a goalie to steal a couple games and steal a series. I think Bobrovsky could do that in Florida versus Tampa. Or Vasilevsky against Florida versus vice, however you want to say it. But I don't see multiple stealing a series against Ovi.
Now, okay, when you talk about Montembeault, you're right. A 282 goals against average and a 902 save percentage. But
yeah, so how is he any better or less questionable than Logan Thompson?
Because Logan Thompson's been injured.
Okay, well, the other one.
Sam Montembeault's been healthy.
No, you ever go in Washington. What's his face?
Lindgren has been inconsistent all year. Montembeault has been.
I guarantee you,
pretty
Lindgren's
consistent all
numbers are
season.
better.
Montembeault's been, like, Chazzy, would you agree with me that Montembeault's been pretty consistent for the most part this season?
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Consistently mediocre.
Charlie Lindgren has an 896 save percentage and a 273 goals against average with only one shutout, where Montembeault has 4 shutouts, a 282 goals against average, and a 902 save percentage. I would take a higher save percentage and more shutouts over goals against average any day of the week.
Yeah, they are comparable goaltending for sure.
Oh, you just told me Lindgren was way better. What do you mean? He's way better. Oh, I mean, they're.
No. Well, what I'm saying is, it's like you said that Lindgren's a question mark. How is Montembeault not a question mark? No, but you know I'm right.
No, you're not, because Montembeault's put up a consistent season. Lindgren is not.
But numbers are practically identical.
Higher goals against, higher save percentage, and more shutouts. Plus, he's played in more games.
So what I'm saying is you can't say one is a question mark and one isn't.
Lindgren's only played 39 games.
How
He's
many
only won
playoff
20.
games does Montembeault have?
62.
Playoff games?
No, sorry, regular season games. He's played 62. He's never played a playoff game.
Exactly. How many playoff games has he Washington goalie played?
Lindgren has played however many games they lost last season in the playoffs.
So 4, because there was a sweep. Right?
They were swept, and in 4, he had a 3.58 goals against average and an 864 save percentage
in the playoffs.
In the playoffs last year.
Yeah, he was bad.
And against a Ranger team, I would argue this Montreal team's got just as much scoring power as that Ranger team did that year.
Probably more, to be honest.
Like, this Montreal team can score. Scoring should not be the issue. It may be defending.
Yeah. Well, the defense is good.
Yeah, I don't know about. It's going to have to find a way to shut down Washington's top 6.
That's the problem. Yeah. I was surprised. I saw a playoff preview on another channel. They were listing. Chazzy would be better to answer this question, actually. They saw the roster preview of Montreal, and they're listing Jack Guy as a healthy Squats. I don't agree with that at all. I don't think Jack Guy should be in your bottom 6 to defend Ovi. What do you think, Chazzy?
Yeah, I didn't see. Have they set their lines yet?
They have
not CSN's preview, Gusto.
I haven't seen their lineup yet.
Their practice lines have been seeing Jack Guy as a 7th defenseman. I think that might change, especially considering Washington's a physical, mean team. You need someone to keep Tom Wilson in check, and Robert Jack Guy is your best bet to do that.
100%. He's a special player.
Yeah, I don't think they've made that call yet.
Okay.
You know what? I'm seeing the Kern tomorrow for Easter dinner, so I'll ask him at the dinner table.
Right.
Well, let's move on to the Leafs versus the Senators. Now, this is a series, if we rewind the clock, we will think about history.
Oh, yeah.
And the Leafs historically have been better than the Senators in the playoffs when we've had the Battle of Ontario. However, the Ottawa Senators have been better in the season series this year.
It's the same as history. If you go back to the early 2000 years, Ottawa has always been better than Toronto in the season.
So, Chazzy, who are you taking between Toronto and Ottawa?
I'm just gonna, before I make my selection, if you're a hockey fan and you know the history of the Battle of Ontario, like we are definitely in for a treat. It's like any other first round series. You'd hate to see one of these two teams go out in the first round. But yeah, it should be good. And because I don't know, I was there down in Toronto for 8 years, and during the whole three series that we played. The atmosphere is electric. The city is insane. I hear Ottawa is expanding season tickets to their season ticket holders, making sure that they can't transfer, so it's not a blue wave in Ottawa. So like the emotion is like, I don't know, like it is boiling. I'm gonna say Sens in 7.
You're not out to lunch with that pick.
It's gonna be long, hard fought. And it's going to come, I don't know, a couple bounces here or there. I think this series is going to go the distance.
I've been surprised a lot of people projecting a sweep, which I'm not projecting a sweep in this series whatsoever.
I'll be very, very, very surprised if someone
I'm going to say it's the Leafs' time.
Yeah.
And they're going to get I told you I have a new prop. And they're going to get it done in 6 games. I think Ottawa's going to push them. But I think Toronto will get it done. And they're going to find a way to win this series, especially when you look Toronto. I just feel the Leafs are more deep than the Senators are this year. You even look at the guys that aren't currently projected to be in your starting lineup. Dan, you're going to hate it. Robertson's projected to be on the 3rd line game 1.
Oh, so before Morford gives it, like, what do you guys think about? Is it Reeves coming up?
Reeves is available. He will not play game 1.
I did call it, though. I said they'll call it.
Yeah, you did. And I think you got the book thrown.
I did, yeah.
Okay, so Craig Berube commented, we're seeing this from TML Update 6 minutes ago. It's confirmed that Max Pacioretty, David Kempf are both available, but he's sticking with the skaters that ended the season.
So what's that? So that was the last game in Buffalo?
Yeah, so the lineup that they had, so I will read you guys off the lines. Because they're on me cell phone. So it's looking
game 1.
Matthews, Marner for game 1. Nyes, Matthews, Marner, Domi, Tavares, Nylander, McMahon, Holmberg, Robertson, Lawrence, Lawton, Yarncroke. Defense, McCabe, Tanev, McCabe's back. Riley, Carlo, Benoit, OEL. OEL is also back. Starting in net, Anthony Stolarz. Now, Dan, I'm assuming you're pretty peeved right now that Nick Robertson is on that 3rd line.
I think this is a massive mistake. I think this is a colossal mistake. I can see the only way you do this if guys like David Kemp and Pacioretty are not 100%. But basically, you are starting the series at a loss with this lineup. Like, that's how bad it is. Ottawa's going to win game 1. And to me, that's just stupid. Why would you just hand over Ottawa game 1? Like, I could see. You didn't ask my prediction, by the way, but I think that Toronto will win this series in 7. I think it will be a very hard-fought series. I don't think it's going to be a sweep. But why we're starting at -1 and we're giving Ottawa a handicap to make the rivalry more interesting, maybe? I don't know. But I don't get it. I think Pacioretty has to be in the lineup. And I think David Kemp has to be in the lineup. I will say. So
who are you pulling then besides of Robertson? You're mentioning 2 players.
Holberg is easy.
Okay, let's actually save the rest of the Leaf talk for tomorrow. We're going live again tomorrow.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I don't know why we're even talking about this.
Player could get injured. So we're about half an hour away
He's
now.
going to put in intense practice and going to get injured in practice.
Dan, it happens. Tavares got injured in practice this year. So did Nylander. So did Marner. The Leafs practice hard this year. Berube is the type of coach that he makes their practices very intense. But I want to get into now the West. And let's start now with Winnipeg versus St. Louis.
Are we missing one in the East, though?
No. We went over 4, Dan. Went Toronto, Ottawa, Tampa, Florida, Washington, Montreal, Carolina, New Jersey.
You got him rattled. He's rattled.
He's rattled about Robertson.
Oh, yeah. Okay, sorry.
So I want to start with Winnipeg.
Keep him on his Jets tonight. Keep him on
because that is the first. That game starts in about half an hour. So this series, I think, will be similar to the way I'm saying Montreal, Washington. I could see this going either way. Even though in theory you have the best team in the NHL facing, I think, the third worst that made the playoffs. Because the Blues, have 96 points. So, yeah, third worst. The Wild and the Senators are slightly... Oh, sorry. So the worst team that made the playoffs, second worst team that made the playoffs, wow, my brain, is the St. Louis Blues.
Well, so
but I am not thinking that this is going to be an easy series for Winnipeg. Number one, you got the two Shen brothers fighting it out. So congratulations to the Shen family. I think that's just a cool thing right off the hop.
I forgot about that, yeah.
And this Blues team, they did a lot to get here to make it to the playoffs. Winning those 12 games straight, going on a crazy 7-2-1 run at the end, and just finding a way to edge out the Calgary Flames by having 3 more regulation wins. Dumbest thing ever to make the playoffs. Not saying the Blues don't deserve their spot. I don't mean that. But having it decided on regulation wins makes absolutely no sense to me. But we already got into that before.
Let's be honest here. We all wanted Minnesota out and Calgary and St. Louis in.
Well, Minnesota, though, they also had 97 points, right? So they earned it. Minnesota found a way, going 5-3-2 in their last 10. But let's stick with the Blues versus the Jets. And let's start before we give our picks. Let's start breaking down positionally. Goaltending, who has the advantage?
Oh,
I'm going to say in theory, Winnipeg, but Binghamton could change my mind after 4 hours from now.
But I guess we're going to get a real test on how much of that Four Nations Cup affected these goaltenders.
Hellebuyck historically has not, just be honest, he's not been good in the playoffs. So this is a tough one for me to see who has the advantage, but I am going to give Winnipeg the edge in net here still. What are your guys' thoughts?
No, I'll agree with you.
Dan?
I'm going off the board. I'm going to say Bennington has the advantage. I mean, Bennington's a special goalie, and when he won the Stanley Cup last time, St. Louis is in the exact same spot. They just barely squeezed in on a great big one at the end. But the $1 million question is, I think it depends how long the playoffs go for these two teams, because Bennington's known for winning the one important game. But if this becomes a 7-game series, then it's almost like a stretch in the season. That's when Hellebuyck plays better. But make things interesting, I'm going to say Bennington.
I will say Binghamton, even the last year the Blues made the playoffs in 21-22, they only went to the second round, but Binghamton played great with a 1.72 goals against average and a 9.49 save percentage. And the year they won the cup, he had a 9.14 save percentage, a 2.46 goals against average, and a shutout and 4 penalty minutes. I don't know what, Binghamton, who knows what he did. But I mean, this is a real tough one for me to say who's got the edge here. If you go season-wise, Binghamton at 2.69 goals against average, 900 save percentage, and 3 shutouts. Connor Hellebuyck, let's be honest, he's going to win the Vezina this year. 47 wins, 8 shutouts, 2 goals against average, 925 save percentage. Statistically, this is a no-brainer until you look at the playoff history.
Right, you got to say this here. Look at paper.
The last 2 playoff runs from Hellebuyck were bad. Last year, they got the gentleman's sweep. They lost in 5. Hellebuyck had a 5.23 goals against average and 8.70 save percentage. Now, mind you, this was against the Colorado Avalanche. And I understand the Avalanche. Winnipeg did not have an answer. And I think that's why Winnipeg went out and acquired Luke Shen, to tell you the truth, and Brandon Tanev. I think they felt they needed 2 more really strong defensive players.
I agree, yeah.
But then we also look at the year before, and it's escaping me now who they played the year before. I think it was it wasn't Edmonton. Doesn't matter. They played someone. And
Minnesota.
They again, gentlemen sweep in 5. Hellebuyck at 3.44 goals against average and 8.86 save percentage. Now we go to 2021. Hellebuyck, when they went to the third round, at 2.23 goals against average, 9.31 save percentage, and a shutout. If for Winnipeg to go on a run, Hellebuyck has to be the guy. That's why I think the goaltending situation here is the most interesting one in this series.
Well, same with St. Louis. In order of St. Louis, we all love them, but then we have that franchise player. In order for St. Louis to win this series and we go deeper in the playoffs, Binnington has to be the guy.
Well, yeah, we look at St. Louis, right? Their leading point getter is Robert Thompson in 70 games, 81 points. And you got Kyrou in 82 games, 70 points. So you only have 1 point per game player on the Blues. Man, Dylan Holloway, 26 goals, 37 assists. How are Edmonton Oilers fans feeling reading that stat line? Letting that kid walk for a draft pick. Man, that's tough.
What about Kyrou?
Yeah, Kyrou, like I said, he had 36 goals, 34 assists, 70 points in 82 games. So
now, the other franchise player for St. Louis could be Poinko for defenseman.
Yeah, St. Louis's defense is very deep, but let's get into the forward group. And let's just be real here. There is no way you're going to tell me Winnipeg does not have the advantage here.
Oh, 100%.
You got Kyle Connor, 41 goals, 56 assists, 97 points. Then Mark Scheifele, 39 goals, 48 assists, 87 points. Now, the big thing, though, is Ehlers is going to miss this whole series.
Yeah,
so at 24 goals and 39 assists. So you're going to see, I think Velarde and Perfetti are going to really have to take a big step up. And same with Adam Lowry. I'm expecting Adam Lowry to really dominate this series.
I think Lowry's going to match up nicely against Sen as a guy with more defensive checking center. I don't know how many points he's going to get for say, but he's going to really swing the momentum.
He's someone that'll put in big goals when it counts. But Chazzy, do you kind of agree with what I'm saying? You feel that Winnipeg definitely has the advantage when it comes to scoring power?
Oh no, I think Winnipeg has the advantage on pretty much everything, and there's really no gaps, and it'll be disappointing if they do get beat here. But I think game one for momentum, especially with these guys coming off the high of the Four Nations, especially on the goaltending, like I think game one's going to really tell us the tale of where this series is going to go.
Yeah.
Oh, I totally agree with you. I think game one is a really big one. Because, you know, and even when I'm looking at the defense, I would almost argue the defense is pretty even between Winnipeg and St.
That's what I was going to say, too.
Like Josh Morrissey being your best defenseman in Winnipeg of 14 goals, 48 assists, 62 points, plus 17. But you got to remember, then, like, Luke Schenn and Logan Stanley is your bottom pairing.
Yeah. I think
right? And that's a defense pairing that just wants to murder you.
Yeah.
Like, and I get Luke Schenn hasn't put up crazy numbers this year. Goal, 6 assists, 7 points in 76 games.
Who cares?
But I'm not really Luke Schenn. You don't bring him in for what he does statistically, right? Like he's been a +5 since joining Winnipeg, 2 assists this year in Winnipeg. He's playing 17 minutes a game, so he's a big part of your penalty kill. And Luke Schenn's got playoff pedigree. I think Winnipeg's really deep at the blue line. But when I look at the Blues, so are they. You got like Ryan Suter, Justin Folk, Cam Fowler, who all of a sudden looks like Cam Fowler from 5 years ago. Colton Parayko, Philip Broberg. Man, Philip Broberg, that's another guy Edmonton let walk for no reason. It's weird how many good players Edmonton let.
Oh, I forgot about him.
By the way, 8 goals, 21 assists, 29 points, plus 21 this season.
Wow. Holy cow.
They need game 1 and 2. They need.
Say that again?
I said for the Jets, they need 1 and 2.
Oh, absolutely. They have to win. They have to win the first 2 games of the series. I don't think you want to do a split going back to the Blues.
No, because if you do give the Blues one of these 2, I don't know. It's not going to be an easy ride the next 5.
No.
So now that we've broken all that down, Dan, who are you taking? Blues or are you taking Jets?
Well, I got the sweater on for a reason. I'm taking the Jets in 7.
I think it's going to go 7. So long series.
I do. I think it's going to be a very hard-fought series.
Chazzy, who are you taking? Jets or Blues?
I'm going to go out on the island here and say Jets in 5.
Wow.
And the only reason, like I said, the momentum is going to be key. These both goalies, they went deep into that tournament, right? So, and Hellebuyck, if he does what he did during the year, 3rd time's a charm.
Yeah.
I'm going to go in the middle. I'm sticking with the Jets of you guys. I'm saying Jets in 6. I think it's going to be a good hard-fought series, but I really think it's just going to come down to depth. And I feel Winnipeg just has more depth than the Blues.
And let's see if St. Louis can keep that momentum of playoff hockey going, since what you said, they're 12-2 in the last 14. So,
and what is tough for the Blues too is they, like what we said about Montreal. You can take this in 2 ways. They've been playing playoff hockey for a month, but they've been also playing playoff hockey for a month. That's exhausting. I know we could make the same point about the Montreal Canadiens on either way, but I would say I do think the Jets get it done, because if they don't get it done, something has to happen there, because this is the best version of this team.
Just a quick question. Do you think, considering Montreal and St. Louis are kind of in the same spot, we've been playing playoff hockey for a month, do you think Montreal is an advantage starting on Monday versus St. Louis starting today?
Honestly, I think for Montreal, I think they would have rather just got going right away. There was a lot of momentum when they won that last game of the year to get their playoff spot. The crowd was crazy. Suzuki on a microphone talking to the fans, which I saw a lot of people online getting really put off about that. I don't really understand what was a big deal. Yet, Chazzy, you looked about as perplexed as I did when I saw
why
it.
are you upset about that?
People were like, oh, they're acting like they won the Stanley Cup. It's like, well, it's the first time they made the playoffs since the bubble format.
Are you kidding me? The atmosphere down there, that was the last game. It was against Carolina. The Kern was telling me about that, which I forgot about, the Sebastian Aho sort of ordeal, sort of a little bit stingy in the front offices of both teams. So Montreal fans are ready for that game. So good on them.
Absolutely. But let's move on to the second game that's going to go on tonight, which is the Dallas Stars versus Colorado Avalanche, which I'm going to say this is the series that I think is going to be the one that is going to suck to see one of these teams go out.
But Dallas is banged up, it seems.
Jason Robertson's probably going to miss the whole series, which I'm sure Dan wishes that was Nick Robertson. But not that we wish anyone hurt, but I mean, the only thing is, if Dallas, though, you look at that roster, Tyler Seguin's back, Matt Duchene's back. They have the goaltending. This team should be able to beat anybody, but Colorado isn't just anybody.
And they just got a stud back too.
Well, we don't know if Landeskog's playing or not. I haven't seen. Let me look up Colorado's lines.
I
thought he was coming up.
I know he's available, but I don't know if he's playing.
Got it.
So according to Daily Faceoff, he's not in the lineup. That doesn't mean he's not. Because personally, I think if he's good to go, you're playing him.
Maybe we're playing game 2. Maybe it's like for Leafs, for trying and see if they can beat the team without the full lineup.
Well, they have their full lineup. It's just fitting them in.
Wow.
Because he didn't get it. He hasn't played with them yet, has he?
No.
He didn't get anything down the stretch, no.
He played a few games in the AHL.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, on the NHL website, it's also not showing Landeskog. Actually, no, they're projecting Gabriel Landeskog on the top line at McKinnon and Lunkinen.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, wait, never mind. This is a very old article I just pulled up. Please ignore me. It's just a Nazem Kadri on the same line.
What? Playoffs?
I don't know why Google would give me that as like the very first thing to read. That was not very helpful. But I don't know.
Either way, Colorado's solid. I'm going to say Avs in 6 or 7, but I'm going to say Avs for sure. Maybe 7.
Avs for sure. Why are you so confident? You think you're that confident?
Oh, I think this Avs team is the team to beat.
Dan, what are you as confident as Chazzy and the Avs, or do you think these Stars have a chance?
Chazzy signing a paycheck. I'm going with Chazzy. Avs in 7. The reason why I think Rantanen, I give Dallas a lot of credit by making the gamble and signing Rantanen and doing the trade for Rantanen. I think that's all fine and dandy, but I don't think Rantanen has the personality is the right word, but I don't know if he's the right type of player to be a franchise player. Yes, Rantanen played great in Colorado, but he also had Nathan McKinnon in front of him. Versus Dallas, he's kind of the guy. So I think a series is going to go 7, but I think Colorado's going to get it done.
Okay, so I'm going completely different you, and I'm saying Stars in 6.
What?
Wow.
Goaltending. Jake Ottinger, as much as Blackwood has stabilized the goaltending in Colorado, he is not better than Jake Ottinger. Ottinger's the better goalie. I think goaltending's a big thing. Tyler Seguin is coming back. I remember that. Seguin has not played. He's only played 20 games this year, but in 20 games, he has 21 points. That is a huge piece back to this already. Everyone's like, well, they're losing Jason Robertson. Okay, but now they're getting Tyler Seguin back.
Mm-hmm.
I look at this Dallas team. Matt Duchene is looking like Matt Duchene from 6 years ago. He's got 82 points, 82 games, 30 goals. Rantanen 88 points in 32 games. But Rantanen's looked very comfortable with Dallas. And I think he's going to have a lot of anger towards Colorado. I look at Wyatt Johnson's had a really solid year. I don't know. There's just something about this Dallas team. I feel like this is the time for Colorado to kind of be dethroned as the king of the West.
Wow. Yeah, but do you think Matt Duchene has some anger against Colorado too? Because they trade him in Nashville or whatever?
That was a long time ago, and Matt Duchene had some bad years. But because you got to look at it, Matt Duchene's last point per game season,
A long time ago.
was a very long time ago.
Probably like 10 years ago.
His last Colorado in 2013, he had 70 points to 71. This was Matt Duchene's first only his second point per game season.
Wow.
He had a point per game season in Nashville in 21-22 of 86 points in 78 games. But this has been his best year with Dallas by far.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's something about this Dallas team. I just feel they're a deeper unit. Colorado has gone through major surgery throughout this whole season. This unit hasn't been cohesive nearly as long as this Dallas team. And I think this is time. I think this is Dallas's year to potentially go to at least to the Western Conference Finals. That's got to be their goal at least. So I don't know. There's something about this team that I'm just feeling all warm and fuzzy about. And I think Colorado, I just don't know. They weren't that great down the stretch. Only 5-4-1 in their last 10. That's just decent. Remember, if they were better down the stretch, they could have got home ice over Dallas, and they failed. And I get you have Nathan McKinnon, right? Who 116 points, like the guy dominated 79 games. Cale
Makar,
30 goals, 62 assists, 92 points. Funny enough, Natchez has really worked out for them with 83.79 games, and I feel he's really fit well in Colorado. I'm pretty sure he will be in Colorado's lineup, and he had 28 points in 30 games with the Avs this season. So I don't know. There's just something my gut is telling me to go Dallas. So that's what I'm doing. I think the Dallas Stars will find a way to get this done. There's just something about this Dallas team I just like, and I have too many question marks around this Colorado team right now for me. There's just too many question marks. Like, we don't know. Brock Nelson hasn't fit there as well as they were hoping. And now, mind you, I love Brock Nelson, and he's
more of a playoff performer for.
Now, mind you, he does have 13 points in 19 games and a +6. So it's not like he's exactly underperforming, but I don't think he's been quite as good as they expected.
I think for a second line center, he's dead on. Because in the Island, he was the top guy center, right? He's not going to be the top guy behind Nathan McKinnon. And we know Brock Nelson's more of a playoff performer. So I think they got him like where they want him. I think he's a great second line center. They got Coyle as your third line checking defensive center who made a huge difference in those Boston teams back in the day. One of the best third line centers in the league.
Right.
You brought back Johnson that won the Stanley Cup with you a couple of years ago. You fixed the goaltending with Blackwood and McKenzie, or whatever his name is.
Wedgwood. It's McKenzie Blackwood's his name.
Yeah, so Wedgwood. Okay, maybe Ottinger is a franchise goalie. I get that, but at least in Colorado, one goalie struggles to put in the other one. Who's the backup in Dallas?
Casey DeSmith, he's okay.
Right, exactly. So it's like, I don't know. Let's say God forbid Ottinger got injured, you're screwed. Versus Colorado
Yeah, but
was
you could
injury.
say
Hello.
that about almost any team in the playoffs. If Winnipeg's Hellebuck gets injured, you're screwed. If Binghamton gets injured, you're screwed. And Montreal, I guess Montreal, you're kind of, I don't know if you're screwed if Montembeault gets hurt, but the other guy has little experience. New Jersey, if Jacob Markstrom gets injured, you're screwed. Carolina,
Jake Allen.
I'd still say you're screwed. Jake Allen's good, but he's not a guy that I want to ride on a full 4AM Cup run. But I don't know. Okay, but yeah, I don't even think you guys are out to lunch. I think more people will agree with you than agree with me, to tell you the truth. But I don't know. There's something telling me that Dallas has got this. Well, let's move on to Vegas versus the Wild. Now, I think this is one we might all agree on. I think Vegas in 5. Minnesota wins 1. I actually don't. They'll win 1. But I think Vegas will win this series pretty easily. And then this will be a sad way to see a legendary career Marc-Andre Fleury sitting on the bench watching his team lose in the playoffs. Chazzy, what's your thought there?
Oh, you're spot on. If not a sweep.
I really think Minnesota will win 1. But Dan, what's your thought?
I think Vegas will win in 6, but I think Marc-Andre Fleury is going to get in for net.
He might. I mean, the only thing is I will say Gustafson's been pretty good for them this year.
Oh, I know.
He's had a pretty good year. But I won't be shocked if they get Fleury in some capacity.
Yeah.
Now, just one perspective, Gustafson this season's got a 256 goals against average, 5 shutouts, and a 914 save percentage. He's been great.
Oh, he has been, yeah.
That could be the key for Minnesota if they can surprise everyone and win this series. Would be how well can Gustafson play?
Right, exactly.
If Gustafson gets hot, they got a shot.
Yeah.
It's a slim shot.
Yep.
And then you got Marc-Andre Fleury as your backup in Minnesota. It was Fleury this year to 2.93 goals against average, 899 save percentage, but he's had some big moments. So, and the playoff pedigree on Marc-Andre Fleury, which I think this is why if Gustafson struggles, you could see Fleury get in the net. Just because this guy has had so much playoff success.
And Fleury against Vegas, too. Why he's going to want to play well against Vegas.
Imagine he went off, though.
Oh, it'd be amazing.
To end his career, he went off.
Amazing.
I would love to see
writing a movie. Disney would be writing a movie about.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd love to see it. I'm just not saying I will see it. I will say though, Gustafson last year in the playoffs was quite good.
Yeah,
3 goals against average. Oh, sorry, 2 years ago, and a 921 save percentage.
Mm-hmm.
Can't really complain at those numbers.
No, not at all.
I don't know. I just think the Wild rely too much on 2 players between Kaprizov and Eriksson. Yeah. I just don't feel this team's deep enough, and I feel Vegas is deep.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Vegas is really deep.
Arguably the deepest roster going into the playoffs is the Vegas Golden Knights. It's like that every year, though.
I think Colorado's the deepest.
You could argue it.
But I don't know.
Shades and I actually went to their Stanley Cup parade, 2 years ago?
Whoa, that's cool.
I'm sure you two had quite a few story pops.
They're ready for
you guys
cup.
did that.
They're ready for another cup in Vegas.
Oh, yeah.
They could actually do it. They are strong.
We got one more series to go over, and this one I think I will say is the most interesting in the West.
Most wild one, yeah.
The LA Kings versus the Edmonton Oilers. I get the Dallas Stars versus Colorado Avalanche, and it's the biggest powerhouse one in the West. This is the one that intrigues me the most. I'll be honest, it's the series I'm most excited to watch out of any series, even though I'm a Leaf fan. Is this LA Edmonton series? Because I think this series is going to be a nail biter. And I'm very curious to see if Edmonton can win off basically 2 players. If any 2 players are going to do it, it is McDavid and Draisaitl. They must feel like sometimes they run the zoo because they just don't have enough pieces around them. And there's still a lot of question marks around this Edmonton roster. We don't know about Evander Kane. We don't even know if Draisaitl's 100%. I mean, nice to see Jeff Skinner finally getting a playoff game after 14 years in the season. But Stuart Skinner's, I think, their biggest question mark out of that whole entire roster. We don't know if we're getting Zach Hyman from last year or Zach Hyman from this year. Same with Brian Nugent-Hopkins. Where LA, I think there's two big differences from the last 3 series versus this one. They have home ice advantage, and they have Darcy Kemper in net.
Yeah.
Darcy Kemper has put on a very, very, very good season. He he's really looked great. Like, I don't just mean that he's a good looking guy, which I'm sure Dan will tell you. Dan, is Darcy Kemper a good looking guy?
Oh yeah, he's gorgeous, dude. I had no idea how good looking he was. I saw a picture of him the other day. I'm like, whoa, he's almost as good as Rui.
By the way, there's someone selling bumper stickers in St. Catharines with a picture of William Nylander on it. Says "Honk to see my Willie," which Dan needs.
There you go.
Sticker. I sent it to you. But Darcy Kemper this year.
I had the Kijiji version last time. You got the marketplace version this time. Good job, Jacob.
But Darcy Kemper this year has a 2.2 goals against average, a 922 save percentage, and 5 shutouts. To be blunt, is it the only guy that might chase Hellebuyck for the Vezina?
Like
this guy's been incredible this year. I know he's played a little less because they've used Big Save Dave a little bit more, which David Riddick also. You know, David Riddick's looked okay this year. I mean, the save percentage isn't great with an 887, but the goals against average at 2.84 is not bad. And he's got 16 wins in 34 games played. That's not. It's really hard to judge a backup goalies too, because there are some games where they're coming in relief, where they might only face 2 shots. One of them might be a breakaway.
Right.
So it's always tough. But I don't know. There's again, my gut's telling me the LA Kings have this series.
Ooh.
I just feel they're a deeper team. I think Edmonton is definitely the more skilled. But you look at like Quinton Byfield, you got Philip Deneau is going to work really hard to shut down McDavid line. Warren Foegele, a former Oiler, who's going to play really hard to prove Edmonton that they should have kept him. Kempe's had a phenomenal season. I can never doubt on Anze Kopitar. He is like another guy like Sid the Kid. He's just the ageless wonder. 37 years old, still put up 67 points in 81 games. Like, I don't know, but Chazzy, you seem to feel Edmonton is Canada's hope to win a cup. I know you've stressed that a lot. How big of a test is this for Edmonton to get through this first series?
Oh, monumental. You take them the last, 3 years? This is the 4th year in a row?
Yeah.
And now you give up home ice. I think Edmonton still gets it done. You're still going to have to stop Draisaitl and Connor, right? So I think those guys are the X factors still in this series. So I'm going to say Edmonton in 6.
Dan, what are your thoughts? I'm saying LA. I forgot to say how many games. I'm going to say LA in 7. What are your thoughts, Dan?
I give LA a lot of credit because I think this series is going to be a lot closer than years past. One other thing you forgot about, Jacob, is Drew Doughty is back to his old self. He's
been playing phenomenal.
He looks like the Drew Doughty of 10 years ago. I think the fact that he missed half the season helped him. And I think LA getting Warren Foegele is a huge X factor in this series. However, I agree with Chazzy here. I think it's going to be Edmonton in 7. I think it's going to be a close game. But you look at the veterans like Corey Perry. You look at the free agent signings that got like Jeff Skinner and Arbison. I know they had a rough season. I'm not denying that. But you got guys like him and Henrique for deep playoff runs. And this is when these guys go to earn their paycheck.
It's just, I don't feel the depth guys at Edmonton have done enough this year.
They haven't. But if they do it in the playoffs, then it doesn't matter.
Because you only have Draisaitl and McDavid are your 2 best players, obviously. Draisaitl 106 points in 71 games. McDavid 100 points in 70. But then you got Evan Bouchard, your next highest point getter with 67 points. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, what a terrible year for what you're paying him. Only 49 points.
It was bad, Will.
Zach Hyman went from scoring over 50 goals to only scoring 27. Then again, your next highest is another defenseman in Jake Wallman, who you haven't even had half the year. Then you got Matthias Ekholm, who, by the way, is going to miss probably the whole first round.
Yeah,
this year, Darnell Nurse has had a decent year for Mr. Egg, but still not that great. Then your next top forward is Corey Perry.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Corey Perry's been in the last 4 Stanley Cup finals.
Yeah, he likes to lose in the cup finals. The guy has 30 points in 81 games. He's a third line. He is a fourth liner on most other teams.
No, he's been in the last 4 finals. That's wild. And he's from Peterborough.
But then you got Connor Brown as well, which don't get me wrong. I like Corey Perry and I love Connor Brown. Like, I would marry the man if I could. But Connor Brown can't be in your top 10 in points for the team with 30 points in 82 games.
Yeah, but the playoffs are different for Connor Brown.
Connor Brown has had a great year. For Connor Brown, he's done exactly what you want him to do. But you look at guys like Jeff Skinner, 16 goals, 29 points. Arvidsson, 15 goals, 27 points. Adam Henrique, 12 goals, 27 points. Oh, look, we're back to a defenseman again, and Brett Kulak.
But those 3 guys are going to step it up in the playoffs.
They got a lot of offensive power on that blue line.
Oh my God. Okay, could McDavid and Draisaitl win this series by themselves? Yes. They are that good. But they also can't make a save. You got Stuart Skinner, who's had a terrible season this year, in my opinion at least. It's not even just the numbers, because the numbers are just mediocre for a 281 goals against average and an 896 save percentage. But he's just looked bad. Personally, I would start Calvin Pickard game 1 and Nart Stuart Skinner. They won't. Really? I would start Calvin Pickard. Absolutely. It's been the better goalie.
Pickard played great during the stretch. I have to agree with you.
Pickard's got a 2.71 goals against average and a 900 save percentage. I'm going Calvin Pickard as my game 1 starter. They won't.
No, I think you go with Skinner. You go with Skinner to see if he catches fired from last year. If he falls
last year in the playoffs, Stuart Skinner was good enough.
Yeah.
He had a 2.45 goals against average, a 901 save percentage, and a shutout. Now, which Skinner are you getting? Are you getting that Skinner or the Skinner from 22-23, who realistically should not have started all 12 games that Edmonton was in? Jack Campbell, funny enough to bring that name up, was a million times better in those playoffs than Stuart Skinner. Remember, Stuart Skinner had a 3.68 goals against average and an 883 save percentage. He was bad.
Oof, wow.
I think Edmonton, for me, I think this is the year Edmonton realizes they need more than 2 players. And that's why I think Edmonton's going to lose. I think McDavid and Draisaitl will make the series close. They'll put up some crazy numbers. But they're literally going to have to be a part of 90% of the goals for this team to win. And they got to do it against arguably the best goalie in the NHL.
Like, well, second best.
You could argue, people could argue that he's just as good as Connor Hellebuyck.
He's not.
You could argue in the playoffs he's better because he's won a cup.
True.
Won in Washington.
Yep.
I personally thought Darcy Kemper should have been.
No, he won in Colorado, did he?
Well, he won it somewhere.
Because wasn't Hopi the Stanley Cup winning?
Yes, it was Hopi. You are correct.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I think so, yeah.
But there's our picks, guys. Remember to download the Streakers app and make sure you play along with those said picks. But
thanks, Trevor, for the great question. Thanks,
Trevor, for the question. That took us 58 minutes and 30 seconds to answer. So, we got to go, but we
got to eat some food.
Puck drop.
We got to get going for puck drop. But just as a quick update, it's 2-0 Trenton over the Milton Menace right now.
What, end of the first?
We're in the second period now. Shots in the first period were 17-10 for Trenton.
Wow.
What's interesting seeing here, too, it's David Fournier who scored the goal for Trenton. It's 2 of their depth guys that got goals here. So that's interesting to see. But we're going to keep an eye on that game as well. Remember, you can play the OJHL and the Streakers app as well. But
you're at that game you're at game 2?
I will be there with I'll be there for game 2. So it should be a great game in Milton. If you can make it down to the rink. If you have your TV, watch it there. If you subscribe to Flow Hockey, watch it there. Hey, I gotta give my main hustle a plug. All right, I do what I do, but we gotta go. Thank you very much for watching. We will be back live again tomorrow before the Leaf game. So we're gonna really preview the Leaf game. Plus, the first game of the Devils versus the Hurricanes will already be finished by the time we go live. So we're gonna go live around 6:00. So that'll give us some time to really see, because tomorrow we have the Senators versus the Leafs and the Devils versus the Hurricanes, and then the Golden Knights versus the Wild at 10 o'clock. So we're going to go much more in depth in the Leafs Senators, and we'll touch on those other series as well. But thank you so much for watching. Want more Streakers Island content? Make sure to follow us on all the social media platforms. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Get her done like Larry the Cable Guy. Make sure to listen to our podcast. It comes out every Tuesdays and Thursday. That's all sports, all the time. Download the Streakers app so you can play along with us. Want to do what we're doing like us in the Streakers app? Reach out to Chazzy or Dan or myself, and we'll tell you how to get going on that, and it's awesome. But until tomorrow, I will see you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.
I didn't cut Dan off this time. You can't complain.